Or you're never getting in. Ask your kids, how do you get on the floor in this program? Play for me. Once you get on the floor, how do you stay on the floor? They need to know that. We get a lot of disgruntled kids and parents because they just don't get that. And I do want kind of a neat thing on roles I'm going to get to also. All right. Let me throw this in. This is really cool. I got this out of an article. Matt Painter at the University of Purdue, played for Gene Cady. And he says every coach should have 3 things that make up his identity as a coach and is demonstrated consistently by his team every day. Matt Painter believes you must commit to 3 parts of the game consistently. His are, number 1, man-to-man defense. Number 2, motion offense. Number 3, rebounding. You watch his team, watch for 5 minutes. I'm pretty sure we'd all probably agree with those 3. That's Matt Painter. Nothing fancy. This is how we're going to play. This is how we're going to beat you. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But we're getting in the yellow bus, and I know 1, 2, 3 that we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, unfortunately. Do you want to spin 10 plates or 3? I'm better with 3. And he says, he stresses, if you do a lot of things, you're probably not going to be good at any of them. You'll be okay. A lot of things you don't have time enough to be good at everything. The foundation of your coaching depends on 3 parts of the game. Love that. Love watching Painter's teams play. Game changer number 3, managing people and setting expectations. And I asked Jack that question because I really think that is the number 1 question in high school basketball. It is certainly the most important topic that young coaches need to be taught. And we're not teaching it. They're either not open to it or we're not teaching. We need to grab those guys and sit them down and say, forget about offense and defense. Okay, your career, your program, your longevity is going to have everything to do with how you manage people. Right? You just heard an unbelievable breakdown, so I don't need to go any further with that. But think about this. Accountability comes from expectations and evaluation. Expectations and evaluation. So we tell, teaching in the classroom, coaching, a lot of things, business, we tell someone what we expect of them. And we follow that up with an evaluation tool. Because if we don't evaluate it, what good is it? And once we set expectations, we make them accountable. Now, certainly that has to start with ourselves. Both in our personal life, your faith walk, your professional career, and your coaching. It has to start with us, or it's not going to work. But I just think that's fair, right? Has anybody worked for a boss where the expectations were a little gray? Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I don't know. That's hard. I'd rather know. Even if they're unrealistic, I'd rather know when he expects of me. And then I want to know how I'm going to be evaluated. Boy, so many high school coaches say, you know what, we're going to have that individual meeting with my AD and just, the things got busy, track started, and we just haven't had it. Are you kidding me? Am I doing well? Am I not doing well? What areas do I need to get better at? I need to be evaluated. I need to know what you want me to do so that I can be accountable. Me, and then the same thing, do that with your players. Fifth grade basketball game. And typical 5th grade basketball game on Saturday afternoon, 4 courts, it's just wild. And this coach, well, I thought he was going to die. This guy was going crazy. Rebound the basketball. Unbelievable. And 5th graders, okay? I mean, he would not let it go. And he was on this one particular kid, but he kind of got on all of them. Rebound the ball. We got to rebound. You guys aren't rebounding. Unbelievable. I'm like embarrassed. And then I got mad. Started the principle of it. And I don't know the guy. I didn't know. I didn't have any vested interest in the game, but it just bothered me so much. It's kind of a neat little twist to what I'm saying. Number 3. And I went up to him after the game. I probably shouldn't have done this. But I went up to him after the game and introduced myself and I said, I just got done watching your game and just wanted to ask a couple things if I could. I said, boy, don't you really get irritated if your kid's not rebounding? Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable that, you know. I said, okay, all right, I got it. Don't yell at me, I'm not playing. I just asked you a question. So he calmed down a little bit, and I said, okay, I'm really curious. I said, I've coached a little basketball, but I'm really curious, how many times do you guys practice a week? Well, once if we're lucky. It's supposed to be 45 minutes, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so once for about 35 minutes. I said, okay, out of that 35 minutes, I'm kind of being a jerk by this point, I'm kind of setting him up. And I said, you could probably guys stretch and do layups and probably some fundamentals. Yeah, we do, and some passing drills. I'm thinking, okay, you got 20 minutes left. Then what do you do? Well, we run through our offense. Okay, great, good job. You got about 10 minutes left. I said, do you guys do any drill work or anything? Yeah, sometimes we can get it in. I said, well, certainly you work on rebounding, and your kids must not execute, but how much time do you spend on rebounding? And I had him. And the guy really felt bad. And I said, what do you do for a living? He said, I work at a business, I'm in sales. I said, wouldn't it really, really stink if your boss came in and said, hey man, you got accounting this week, and it better be done right. He looked at me like, you are crazy. That's ridiculous. I wasn't trained to do that. You mean you're asking me to do accounting? You're asking a kid to do something that he has not been taught, number 1, and number 2, been made accountable in practice. How in the world, on a Saturday afternoon, is he going to go out to the rec center and do it? Now, that's ridiculous. So, manage your people, accountability, set expectations.
Did he hit you?
Pretty important stuff. No, he didn't. He's kind of sheepishly walked away. I felt kind of proud of myself. I probably should have got belted, But so that's my story on that. And last thing on number 3 is when we define roles. Man, I'm telling you, and really, especially at the high school level, and man, these guys that you guys that have coached in college, really at the collegiate level too, in a little bit different level. But when you establish roles for, and I love to ask high school coaches, I'll say, okay, what are the roles for your kids on the team? Well, Steve, he's a football linebacker, so, he can't shoot a lick. So we don't let him shoot, but we'll let him do this stuff. Well, how about this? Well, he's not very tough. So I can't have them in there very long. When you establish roles for your kids, empower your players through the way you design the roles. And don't tell a kid, you can't do this, but you can do this. Who wants to hear they can't do something? So, example, best three-point shooter on the team. If you turn down an open look, you're coming out. Maybe exaggerated example. Okay, but he needs to shoot the ball if he's in the game. Now, he may not be great at some other areas. I'm not putting him on their best player because he can't guard himself. So when I build his role, though, I'm going to say, listen, you bring unbelievable value to our team. Okay, you are mentally and physically tough. You have bought in totally. You're one of our greatest practice players, and you communicate as well as anybody on our team. And I need your communication on this floor. Here's the kind of the golden comment. When you get in the game, I need you to do this to help us win. Boom, 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 and boom. Man, that kid walks out of there. He can't wait to get home. Hey, you know what Coach said? Coach said, I'm a valuable part of this team. He says, I'm really good at this, this, and this. Now, he didn't mention shooting. You want to say, hey, you stink at shooting. Don't tell him that. Just leave it out. And he'll figure that out. But I think when he goes home and talks to mom and dad, and they understand what his role is in a positive nature, think that's really good. And I think that kid gets buffed up a little bit. He thinks that's pretty cool. I'm a part of this team. But some of them are going to have limited roles. That's just the way it is. We're trying to win. Until they take the scoreboards down, we're trying to win. You go and play 5. So think about that. How do you define roles for your kids? And can they take those home and convey that over the dinner table to mom and dad? If they can, it's pretty cool. If they can explain to mom and dad what it takes to get in the game, that's awesome. If they can explain to them how they stay in the game, if they can explain to them what their role is and what their top 3 is, they're educating mom and dad. That's a pretty good stuff there. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4. It's a game of shots. How's your team going to score points? We were just talking to Travis up here. He says, we cannot make a shot. I said, can you make free throws? Yeah, 50%. I said, well, that's better than shooting 21% from the field. Get to the line more this year. Okay, so how's your team going to score? And unfortunately, there's this notion that basketball is an equal opportunity game on the offensive end. There's no compromise on the other end. But there's something about kids, when they grow up, they're in the driveway, you know, you don't see many kids defensive slide and loose ball drill in the driveway. They're all shooting, right? So they grow up thinking they can shoot. Whether they can or not, they think they can shoot. So how do you manage that? The game of the shot, how do you manage that? You're only going to get so many possessions, guys. You're only going to get so many shots. Aren't those shots precious? And go back and take a look at who's taking them. And really analyze it. It is really interesting. In the NBA, if you go to NBA.com, I don't know if you've seen this, they're called hot zones. And they've taken the court and they've divided it into pockets in different colors. And then you can take a player in the NBA, you can select road games only, Eastern Conference road games only, click it, and this will come up and it'll show you from all the different spots on the floor what percentage that player shoots. Now that's interesting. Have you kept stats over a long period of time in practice? Because over the long haul, you are really going to identify a picture of what that player represents in terms of shooting the basketball. Over time. Boy, if you could get a manager, I don't think you can keep stats enough. I told a high school coach in Iowa to do that. He had a parent come to him and say, you know, that sophomore year, he's shooting way too much. And because he is, my kid's not getting enough shots. Really? What? No? 3-point shots, I mean. 3-point shots. He needs to make shots for you to win. And this coach, because he had some managers, he took the time, he pulled out these stats. And he said, I want to share something with you that you probably didn't know. Your son, over the last 2.5 months at practice, has taken X amount of shots. Overall, he's a 42% field goal shooter. From 3, he's 21.5 from behind the line. That's over 2.5 months. Now, granted, it's in practice, but as we all know, what happens Monday through Friday shows up on Saturday. There's just no way getting around it. So I got to tell Dad, hey, your son shoots 21% from 3 over 2.5 months. Now, they hear that. It might be a little bit different story. So 10 darts. Okay, we got 10 darts. And Jim's my best 3-point shooter. And Coach, you're my second best shooter, and you're my 3rd best shooter. Okay? You couldn't make a shot if I put a winning lotto ticket in front of you. Okay? And he's worse. All right? And he should be out for the rest of it. So there's our 6 guys. All right? 10 darts. And the idea is to hit it right in the bullseye. Okay? You 6 got to get together and figure out who's throwing the darts and how many you're throwing. Why? You're trying to win, right? You're trying to get as many bullseyes as possible. Okay, are we going to let the wrestler throw a dart? Are you going to get one? No? He says no. I agree. Okay. Coach, do you deserve a dart? No, I know you want 8 of them. See, that's the problem. Your dad's on the school board. Okay, so you got to give him one. He gets one by default. All right, try to save your job, maybe. Okay, and are you gonna get one? No? Okay, so no. Okay, so out of the last 3 guys, 1 dart. We got 9 darts for my best 3 shooters. It's adding up pretty good, guys. How many out of 10 do you want? You're my second best shooter.
1. I want at least 2 or 3.
Okay, 2 or 3. Let's say 3, 4. We got 6 left.
I want to win, so I can shoot.
How many do you want Jim to throw?
He's our best shooter.
Yeah.
If they're good shots, I don't know, all 8, give him a couple.
You're going to give Mate?
Sure.
Okay.
He's our best shooter.
Okay. See, I kind of like that. Now, 10 darts is about playing basketball, isn't it? You only get so many shots, guys. Why would you let a 21% shooter take 6 threes? There's a high school team in Iowa that was in the sub-state final. And I know the family, and the dad was just, they had a good year, and they were rolling in the tournament. And now this is not a good shooting three-point team, except for 1 player, and another one maybe a little bit. So all of a sudden, they figured they're going to try to win on threes. They took 35 three-point shots in the sub-state final. Made 7 of them. I don't get it. I don't get it. Let's get to the line. Let's see if we can't break down the defense. It's not an equal opportunity game. Coach told me one time there's a reason that they don't send the janitor into the boardroom. Thought that's pretty good. I've got an article on the difference between shot selection and shot distribution. Who's taking them, where are they taking them from, and how many are they shooting? I just think you should break it down. I'm not talking about micromanaging every possession, but this is important. If you're going to let these guys decide who shoots from where, how many, they don't go home and watch that game on tape. You guys do. All right, so you can have you can affect that. Last thing is just something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. I guess maybe having to do with the fact that my father was a sports writer in Northwest Iowa for 37 years, and I grew up in gyms. And the high school coach at Fort Dodge Senior High was an excellent coach by the name of Dutch Huseman. And I grew up on that baseline, a little kid watching high school practice, and I thought those kids were giant, and man, I idolized Dutch Huseman. And at a young age, I kind of felt like I might want to coach. I love basketball. I met Pistol Pete when I was 15, and I mean, it's really cool. It's really cool. And so I was real fortunate because I grew up in that environment. I loved it. And I've really grown to love the game. And it pains me when we sacrifice the integrity of the game in a lot of different ways. And I think we have to be custodians of this game. Now, what does that mean? We're not perfect. Coach said it. Man, that is so good. We're not perfect. And I probably wouldn't be the poster child for when I'm not perfect, apologizing and saying I'm not perfect. I mean, that was a pretty good piece to all of that. We have to take care of this game. Those that came before us, would they be proud watching us on the sideline? Those that came before us, if they watched our practice, heard us talk to our team at halftime, spent time with us in a social environment, okay, with the founders of this game, would those that came before us want to hear us gossip about another coach? Or complain about a kid? Now, I'm not saying they were perfect back then either. I always thought it'd be pretty cool to coach back when Tex Winter and Ralph Miller and some of those guys coached. I don't know. The game was pretty pure. It was pretty cool. Tex Winter, a lot of good books out there, but in Tex's book he talks about in the spring he didn't have anything to do one season, so he just built his family a home. That's all they had to do. And they just recruited seniors, and they just went out after senior year and they got some guys. So just think about the way you approach the game. Are you a member of your state's association? Are you a member of the NABC? Are you invested into these bodies, okay, that govern our game? I think we should be. That's our profession. And the things like abuse, like we were talking about earlier, obviously there's no place for that, but you know, I'll tell you, when they started paying money for guys coaching the way they have, man, winning became really, really important. It always was. But you start adding zeros behind that, whew. And I've worked with a couple of pretty high-strung guys. And you throw a little pressure in there, and the money went through the roof, and it's kind of crazy. And it's a pretty, the shelf life isn't nearly what it used to be or what it should be. The last thing I want to share with you on game changer number 5 is this. Do you know that if you're an arborist, I think I got that right, right? An arborist is a guy that cuts trees down, right? They have to be certified to cut limbs down. Firemen have to go through training. Your athletic trainers, they have to go through very strict certification. Attorneys, teachers. But what's bothering me, now that I got out of this tunnel vision of having my team and not really paying attention to the game in general, and I'm not blaming young coaches, I'm not blaming AAU, this or that. But why do we not have a certification tool and a program in place for everybody that coaches? I don't get it. Now, you know, some say, when I bring this up, they say, well, we go through our state association. Well, yeah, I know what that is. I'm not talking about that. That's every 3 years in our state. Okay, you got to learn how to tape ankles, and you bluff through some human growth and development deal. I mean, I went through all this to get certified. I'm not talking about that kind of certification. I'm talking about that kind of certification. And what you're going to hear a little bit later. And how to deal with parents. Why are we missing the boat? Why do you have to be certified to cut a damn tree down? Because really think about it, guys. How many times have you heard that the most influential person in my life was this coach, that teacher, that pastor? I mean, think of the obligation we have to help these kids grow and develop as young people into adults. This is so important. It's so much a huge part of their life. But yet, anybody can coach. And it bothers me. You can look out there, and there are some programs. If you go to iHoops, they've got a program. There are some, Brian McCormick's got a program. I mean, there's guys out there that do it. But I'm talking about corralling. I'm talking about let's get together. Somehow we have to do this. Now, AAU started a certification process, as I understand. And I'd love to see it. I'd love to see what it is. I bet there's a lot of legalese in there, is what there is. I'm not sure there's much in there about how to deal with a kid when he's disgruntled after you take him out of the game. Gosh, we need that. And I'm developing my own certification right now. And I hope I can get it to where it can be run through a university so you can get credit for it. Because what I would like, personally, what I would like to do in our state, instead of those guys going for a weekend in Des Moines and sitting there and going through all those hours, I would like to have a certification course that I put together and have them go through that. It would be rather extensive, obviously. Do it every 3 years and have that count for their continuing ed. I just, you know, you guys are here. I would say the freaks come out in the spring. They do for clinics. You know, you guys are you're the cream of the crop. And I really congratulate you for being here. This young guy came from Colorado. Man, that's what it's all about. and take care of this game. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, but let's take care of this game and do it the right way. I have more resources than anybody in here combined, I'll promise you, all right? And they're not doing me any good. So every time I go speak, and please take me up on this. Okay, here's what I'd like you to do. Take a piece of paper, and I'll send you anything you want. Anything. Please write down your name and your email address and where you coach. Name, email address, where you coach. And then I'd like you to write down any topic, any kind of article, any kind of offense, defense, skill development. I mean, the sky's the limit. And give that to me, and I will send you whatever you want. And if you get a hold of me in a month and say, hey, I need more stuff, then it's coming. All right, that's this guy right here. If you subscribe to one newsletter, other than mine, if you subscribe to one newsletter, you get a hold of Mike Neighbors, the head women's basketball coach at the University of Washington, has the best. How many are on Mike's list? These guys will tell you. It's unbelievable. Man, you talk about sharing the game. Oh, man. He just got the job, by the way. His boss, Kevin McGuff, went to Ohio State to be the women's coach, and so Mike got the job. You get a hold of Mike. I got Mike's stuff, so ask me. I got his email. All you do is zip him an email. He just sent one out yesterday. And get on those lists. Okay? I have more clinic notes. You can. I have probably thousands of clinic notes. So I might as well give them to you guys and help you out. If there's anything I can do, come to my website, take a look, but keep in touch. Email me. Ask me. Don't be afraid to ask. Find a mentor in your community. Okay? And just kind of have the courage to go to somebody and say, please help me be a better coach. That's what this game's about. I guess that's part of the custodian part of the game. We need to be the best we can be. And that was a real theme in the first one. So, again, unbelievable. I don't know where I'm at with time or anything. Tony, thank you so much personally for letting me be involved in this, but for putting this together. We talked on the phone. I mean, this room's going to be a whole lot bigger next year. And the year after that, and the year after that. This is where it's at right here. And I really congratulate you guys for taking your time and your resources to come out here and get better at your craft. I think it's awesome. Thanks so much. And I'll be around, so I'll be around the rest of the time. So I'll look forward to seeing everybody. Thanks so much.